Did you know your bad boss could be shortening your life? It's true, and I'll explain why. Ever wonder why it seems like bad bosses are multiplying like rabbits these days? Is it something in the water? A corporate conspiracy? Or could there be a more fundamental issue at play here? Something that most people are completely missing. What if I told you there are proven ways to manage your boss, to navigate this nightmare, and maybe, just maybe, come out stronger on the other side? How different would your life be if you knew those tricks? Studies have found that over 75% of employees consider their boss to be the most stressful part of their job. That means 3 out of 4 people watching this right now are nodding their heads, feeling that familiar knot in their stomach, thinking, "Yep, that's me." Are you one of them? Are you one of the millions who lie awake on Sunday night, dreading the work week ahead, all because of your boss? If so, you need to listen up, because what I am about to share with you could very well change your life. I've spent decades transforming businesses, and I've seen it all: the good, the bad, and the truly awful when it comes to leadership. But here's a little secret I've learned. The real power to turn things around often lies at the base of the pyramid, and there's a way to tap into that power. It's called managing up, and it can be a game changer. So just how widespread is this bad boss epidemic? Let's cut through the noise. You heard earlier that 75% of employees are suffering. Well, it gets worse. A whopping 84% of U.S. workers say poorly trained managers are creating mountains of unnecessary work and stress. 82% have admitted they'd seriously consider quitting because of a bad manager. 24% are stuck working for the absolute worst boss they've ever had. And over a third are living that toxic boss nightmare right now. These aren't just numbers. These are your colleagues, your friends, maybe even you. Let's break down these incompetent bosses, shall we? First up, the poor communicator with instructions so vague, you're left wondering if they even know what they want. Then there's the leadership void, avoids decisions like the plague. Next, a classic, the micromanager, breathing down your neck 24/7. Ever worked for a fossil refusing to adapt, even as the asteroid of change hurtles towards them? That's the inflexible. And oh boy, the credit stealer, taking all the glory for your hard work. Then you have the patron, the king or queen of unfair treatment. Finally, the trust fund manager, never trusts you, making you feel utterly useless. So where do these people even come from? What turns someone into a bad boss? Is it a secret training program? A toxic mentorship? What is it? The truth is, it's often a combination of factors. A perfect storm of incompetence brewing within the very fabric of many organizations. And it's not always the individual's fault. The system itself is often to blame. One major culprit? Hiring and development. Many companies simply don't know how to hire or develop good managers. They rely on outdated criteria, things like seniority or past performance in roles that have nothing to do with leadership. They're basically playing darts blindfolded when it comes to selecting managers. And even when they stumble upon someone with potential, they are hesitant to promote or fail to provide the necessary training and development. They toss them into the deep end without any support. It's like expecting someone to win a marathon without ever teaching them how to run. The result? Managers who are ill-equipped, overwhelmed, and often resorting to those terrible behaviors we talked about earlier. But it gets worse. There's another insidious force at play: overconfidence, coupled with a complete lack of self-awareness. Individuals in leadership positions who are so blinded by their own perceived brilliance that they can't see their own flaws. They lack empathy, they're focused solely on their own gain, and they'll crush anyone who dares to challenge them. And here's a classic mistake companies make: confusing individual performance with leadership ability. Just because someone is a rock star salesperson or a coding genius doesn't mean they have the slightest clue how to manage people. And finally, let's not forget about the organizations themselves. Many companies have such poor processes in place, such inadequate systems for evaluating and addressing bad management, that these incompetent bosses are allowed to thrive unchecked. There's no accountability, no consequences for their actions, and the result is a toxic work environment where good employees suffer and eventually leave. It's a vicious cycle. Now, all of this might seem like a recent problem, a symptom of our fast-paced modern workplace, but the truth is, this phenomenon has been around for a while. There's even a name for it: the Peter Principle. This theory, developed way back in the 1960s by Lawrence J. Peter, basically states that in a hierarchical organization, people tend to rise to their level of incompetence. Let me break it down for you. Someone excels in their current role, so they get promoted. They keep excelling, they keep getting promoted, until eventually they land in a position where they're no longer competent. They've hit their ceiling, but instead of recognizing it, they're stuck there, often making life miserable for everyone around them. If you are interested to know more about the Peter Principle and what has contributed to amplify it recently, you can find the link to the video in the description box. So, what's the real damage caused by these incompetent bosses? We've talked about their behaviors, their origins, but what's the actual impact on the people who have to work under them? Let me tell you, it's far worse than you might think. We're talking about a level of devastation that goes beyond just a bad day at the office. These bad bosses, they're stress factories. They crank up your pressure, your anxiety, that constant crushing dread. If you're under their reign of terror, you're likely experiencing sky-high levels of stress from the constant criticism, the unrealistic expectations, and the complete lack of support. It's a toxic cocktail that leads to burnout, plummeting morale, and even serious health problems. And the damage doesn't stop there. These bosses are motivation killers. They suck your energy, your enthusiasm, your drive right out of you, and your job satisfaction goes out the window. This leads to increased absenteeism, people calling in sick just to escape the toxic environment, and of course, sky-high turnover. People quit, they run for the hills, and the company is left scrambling to fill the void, incurring massive costs in the process. Did you know that replacing an employee can cost a company at least 1.5 times that person's annual salary? We're talking about a huge financial drain, all thanks to bad management. But the most insidious impact is the effect on employees' health. Studies have shown a direct link between working for a bad boss and negative health consequences. We're talking about an increased risk of heart disease, sleep disturbances, and get this, even a shorter lifespan. That's right, a bad boss can literally kill you. Okay, we've seen the problem in all its ugly glory, but now it's time for solutions. Because let's face it, you're not here to just wallow in misery. You're here to find a way out, a way to take back control. And let me tell you, there is hope. Managing up, influencing your boss, it's not just a myth, it's a real, tangible skill, and it can be learned. I've seen it work time and time again, and it can work for you too. So, how do you do it? How do you manage an incompetent boss? Here are some powerful techniques you can start using today. First, you need to become a bit of a detective. Try to understand the root cause of your boss's incompetence. What's driving their behavior? Are they lacking specific skills? Are they overwhelmed? Or are they simply a poor fit for the role and perhaps insecure about it? Knowing the why can help you tailor your approach. Next, and this is crucial, identify the gaps. Where is your boss struggling the most? What are they consistently dropping the ball on? Once you've identified those areas, offer to help. Yes, you heard that right. Offer to take on additional responsibilities, provide guidance, or simply offer a different perspective. You are basically filling in where they are failing. And in some cases, you might even need to teach your boss. Share your knowledge, your expertise, help them improve their skills, make better decisions. It's a delicate dance, but it can be incredibly effective. But, and this is a big but, you need to set boundaries. Decide how much of your boss's slack you're willing to pick up and what's off limits. You are not there to be their doormat. Protect your own time, your own energy, your own sanity. And while you're doing all this, seek out a mentor. Find someone else in the organization, or even outside of it, who can provide guidance and support. It's like having a secret weapon in your arsenal. And through it all, focus on your own performance. Continue to excel in your role. Demonstrate your value to the organization. Another powerful tactic, stay one step ahead. Anticipate your boss's needs. Complete tasks before they even ask. But here's a crucial piece of advice. Maintain emotional distance. Don't let your boss's negative behavior get under your skin. It's like building an invisible shield around yourself. And whatever you do, don't gossip. Resist the temptation to badmouth your boss. You want to be seen as part of the solution, not part of the problem. Finally, if you feel safe, consider providing upward feedback. Offer constructive criticism. Focus on specific behaviors, and approach it with respect. Now, I know this might seem like a lot, But imagine this. Imagine walking into work every day, not with dread, but with a sense of confidence, knowing that you have the tools, the strategies, to handle even the most difficult boss. Imagine being able to not just survive, but to thrive, to advance your career, to achieve your goals despite the obstacles. How much better would your life be? All right, I hope you're feeling empowered, equipped, and ready to take on even the most challenging of bosses. But before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Please share your experiences and your bad boss horror stories. I'll be there, reading every single comment, offering my thoughts, my advice, my support. Think of it as personalized coaching, right here in the comments section. But that's not all. If you're hungry for more, if you want to dive even deeper into the art of managing up, I've got something special for you. We're going to be publishing 2 in-depth book summary videos on this very topic. 2 powerful books packed with actionable strategies, real-world examples, and expert advice on how to master the art of managing your boss. These videos will be your ultimate guide to navigating difficult bosses, building influence, and taking control of your career. If those videos aren't already up, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss them. Trust me, you won't want to miss these game-changing insights. And if they are out, you should find the links in the description box below. Go check them out. They could be the key to unlocking a whole new level of success and fulfillment in your career.